Greetings and thanks for tuning in for this live filmmaker Q&A following our screening of Family Pride shorts with Trinity. My name is Nick McCarthy and I'm the Director of Programming at NewFest. NewFest is New York's leading LGBTQ film and media organization, and for 32 years we've hosted the annual New York LGBTQ Film Festival in October, where all 5 of these wonderful shorts you just watched screened in the recent past, and we're delighted to be able to share again with y'all. Beyond the festival, NewFest also continues our mission to bring voice and visibility to the LGBTQ community with year-round initiatives and programming, including a free Pride Festival that will be announced next week. So please, if you're not signed up for NewFest, sign up for our newsletter, follow us on social, or visit newfest.org to see all of our other upcoming events. This evening, we're delighted to celebrate these vital stories of family, identity, and intergenerational dialogue. And for this event, we've partnered with Trinity Youth and Pride 365, who provide year-round programming to celebrate LGBTQ history and storytelling. Trinity Church Wall Street is an historic Episcopal parish in Lower Manhattan and is a community that strives to practice radical welcome, the full inclusion of all people regardless of background, beliefs, or experience. We'd like to personally thank Damali, Jen, Matt, Courtney, and everyone at Trinity for their work in making this event possible. I'd also like to thank our friends and partners at the New York City Department of Education, and of course, Mr. Eric Vaughn. So for today, we have a wonderful moderator, our Maven moderator, Eric. So please join me in welcoming the moderator for today's discussion, the manager of LGBTQ programs in the Department of Education, New York City, Eric Vaughn.
Hi, Nick. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Trinity. I have not seen my family at Trinity in so long, and I miss them so much. So this is like coming home. I haven't seen a lot of you all that are, especially our GSA clubs, but throughout this pandemic, throughout this quarantine, we've been able to still connect through movies, through NewFest, having these wonderful events. So I appreciate you all. I know we have some repeat people who come to all of them. We have some newbies. Whether you can't come to all of the NewFest events or whether this is your first time, please keep coming. We want to keep having these events. We want to keep the reach. We want to keep this community alive. This building of community alive. So definitely keep coming. Sign up for that newsletter. As Nick mentioned, my name is Eric Vaughn. I am the manager of LGBTQ programs and policies with the New York City Department of Education. In my role, I get this amazing job to help affirm and support LGBTQ youth. And it just so happens to be Pride Month, which is probably most of our favorite times of the year, but definitely my favorite time of the year, where we get to come together, we get to celebrate, it's also the end of the school year, so we get to kind of relax a little bit and see all these cool rainbows, see what everything's about, and celebrate just being ourselves. I cannot think of a better way to do that than with these movies. I hope that you all enjoyed these movies as much as I did, because it really touched me. This idea of family, whether that's birth family or chosen family, is something that is so important to me. And I'm so happy that we had the opportunity to see this. So again, thank you, NewFest. Thank you, Trinity Church. You all are so wonderful. And we have an amazing panel of people who are equally as wonderful, and I can't wait to introduce them and ask some questions. So without further ado, I want to introduce the panel to you all. So we have Brendan. You might recognize Brendan from Draw With Me. We have Britt and Caro from Caro Comes Out. And we have Jade from How to Make a Rainbow. Oh, Jade's daughter's here too. What's up? Awesome. Oh, we got the whole family here. Cool. Awesome. So why don't you all take a moment, introduce yourselves, and tell us an interesting fact about you. We can start with Brendan.
I knew I was going to have to go first.
You knew that was going to happen.
My name is Brendan. I use he, they pronouns, and I'm currently studying mortuary science.
All right. Britt.
I can go. I'm Britt Fryer, he, him, and a fun fact about me that I just learned is that I'm very allergic to mosquitoes. Fun fact.
Oh,
I'm covered.
That does not sound fun.
It's not fun, but interesting.
Caro?
Hey, I'm Gato, she, they pronouns, and I feel like the fun fact should be that I'm an Aries and Capricorn moon. You know, I got the moon, I got the rising, I know all the things, but yeah, I'm an Aries.
All right, I have a bone to pick with a few Aries in my life. Hopefully, you're not like the rest of those Aries. I know. It's making it personal already, but that was I got triggered just now for a second, but I won't hold that. I won't hold your sign against you. And we can't. But all right, Jade.
My name is Jade Phoenix. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm from LA. And the fun fact is that I go hard for the Los Angeles Lakers and Dodgers.
Awesome.
And
Jade, does your daughter want to introduce herself?
this is Eliza. Eliza Rain is my daughter. And a fun fact about her is she's getting really into drawing lately.
Awesome.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
At this moment, I want you all, if you have a question, please put it in the chat. If you're, please ask any question that you want to the panelists. And I'm going to start off by starting with Kato and Britt. What inspired you both to make this film?
It's all you. You should take that.
You both should take this.
Okay,
Tag team this
I
question.
know we both have to take this because it was like a joint thing. I think we both wanted to make a short film. We met at work. This is a budding work friendship, and I just thought it'd be really funny and weird if we did this. And I text Britt, and he was like, "I love this. Let's make this." And then I became very terrified, and that is how that's how this came up.
Yeah, I think we were both sort of interested in, we both love different types of coming out movies. And I think we were really interested to see sort of the humor and the repetition of it. And like, what if we have to do it sort of like over and over again, and thought that idea in itself would be funny. So yeah, I guess we sort of went in with comedic intent and hopes. And I think there's definitely comedy there, but also grateful that it sort of turned into something that feels really heartfelt and sort of touching at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely got that vibe, those vibes watching this, and it made me like think about my own family. I feel like I'm out, but I also, like you said in the movie, I also like have not really had the conversation. I just left it up to people to, when I changed my status on Facebook to interested in men, I just kind of figured that was it. And then started bringing over boys, but I've never actually had the conversation with these members of my family. So I'm not gonna. I don't know. I'm curious now. Now you open up this window in my mind to see. I don't know if I'll do it though, but I'm very curious about how that conversation would go. I'm not sure if my family is as cool as yours. You have a pretty cool family.
Yeah, I think they've had a long time because of, my mom also. No spoilers alerts, but yeah, they've had a long time to come to terms with these things. But also, it is tormenting and embarrassing and all of those and very awkward experience. So I also don't know if it's the best way to do it.
I don't know. I feel like all of after you should have to come out every 10 years or so, just in case people forgot. In case, identities change as well, right? Like our orientation changed every 10 years, a refresher. Shade, I want to direct the next question to you. What inspired you to tell this story? I was super, super touched by this movie. I got a lot of emails back from GSA clubs and parents who watched it with their kids. We're now in usually we have these events and we go to a movie theater and it's just for students. Because of our remote learning, a lot of people were able to watch this with their families. So a lot of people were touched by the story. Thank you for being so vulnerable and telling us the story. But what inspired you to want to tell the story?
Yeah, thanks. I think a big part of it, I think you nailed it on the head when you said thanks for being vulnerable. I'm a poet, a storyteller at heart, and an artist. And I think a lot of the magic of my work is through my vulnerability and in showing people how to be vulnerable with my own story is what gives people their own sense of like, I can be vulnerable too, and that allows them to be vulnerable with themselves. And so I think the origin of this piece was like, it was a poem about me and my daughter, and about, one time it just kind of started where the kids next door were making fun, like kind of teasing her about me because she had a trans mother, and she stood up for me. And there was this like moment in like, whoa, Eliza at a young age is already starting to understand these things. And it was really cool to think about, what if we were able to like get this in a story form, and that this would be able to give people their own inspiration of like, look, if children can understand these things, then like, so can you, right? And it's that easy. And so a big part of it was just, like our own lived experiences, and that this was a unique time in our lives that we had a lot of transition happening, and I figured it'd be a great time to document it.
Awesome. Thank you both for being vulnerable with us, telling the story. It really touched me, and I know a lot of people watching had the same reaction to that. Brendan, see, I saved you for last this time. So my question to you, Brendan, is how did this documentary come up? This movie, number one, congratulations on it going so far. It has gone in places. We met about 2 years ago, and actually, Brendan, I don't know if you know, that was like my first week or second week like on the job. Yeah, it's been crazy. Yeah, so we met 2 years ago, and that was the NewFest first screening. And since then, I have seen this movie take off. How did this movie come about?
I usually say it was basically just a collection of like just being like knowing the right people and just kind of things lining up. It's very much like everything kind of lined up for it, and it was like, well, hey, opportunities here, might as well. Because I met. Do you want me to like tell like the whole story? Or
Yes.
Okay. I met Constantine, who is the director and like the main filmmaker, through my mom, because he did a film with her where she was an opera singer, because my mom sings opera. And she invited him to our house to have dinner. So he like came over. We had never met before, but my room is like covered in like paintings and art. Like I have whole murals all over my room. And he kind of like saw my room, and we just kind of sat on my floor, and I was like pulling out art I made when I was like I was like, this is art I made when I was really sad. And we just started like talking about like mental health and art as an outlet for like mental health. And he kind of proposed the idea of like, hey, the Trevor Project? I was like, yeah, I know the Trevor Project. And that they did a film, I don't remember how many years ago, not great with numbers. And that it was like the anniversary of the film, and that we could do another one because he works really closely with the Trevor Project. He's been a volunteer there for years. And I was like, sure. I mean, because in my mind, this is just my mom's friend who did a film with her, and we're having dinner now. So like, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll whatever. And like not expecting anything to really come of it. Just it to be like a little thing that a few people would see. And now we're here, and it's wild.
Yeah, no, it is so wild. So many GSA clubs have seen this movie. So many people throughout the world have watched this movie. This is super inspiring. I just on a side note, I had a group of students from a specialized high school with students with intellectual disabilities. They saw it. They like reached out and said that they saw it and loved it, and it inspired them. So this movie is like crazy. Congratulations on all your success, and you're famous now. So
I don't know about that.
Move over on J-Lo. Yeah. But I don't know if do we have any questions yet? If not, I have a ton of questions here. the next question I want to know, we have a lot of young people out there who come to these events and they really want to make movies, and a lot of queer young people. What advice would you give those people who are maybe in high school and are interested in telling stories? We can start with Jade. That's cool.
Yeah, I always say the most important thing is to just be authentic and to be you, right? And I think that one of the powerful things about art storytelling, and what I find most powerful in my poetry, is that when I'm telling my story, I get to create my narrative. When I write my poetry, I get to create the narrative of the stories that I'm telling about myself, and that the way that the world will receive me, right? And so I think that what I love about the power of film, and that like we got to make this film and documentary, and I was able to be, and I think that this is something that a lot of people, you know, like when you talk about a documentary, are you, as a subject, are you supposed to be like totally hands off, and you know, like you're not supposed to have like a certain kind of like voice in it? And I had to push back against that. It's like, this is a documentary about my life, and so I should have a lot of say in like how this is told, right? And I think that there's a lot of old school thinking about documentaries have to be objective from like the view, from like the director's point of view. And so one of the things that like I say is just be authentic, be yourself, and don't be afraid to let your story be told, and let your voice come out. Let your voice be the one that tells it.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for that. Britt?
I guess my advice would be to, I guess, like lean into your friends. Like me and Caro made this movie because we were just friends and we had an idea and sort of created a space where we could sort of share ideas with each other, whether or not they were ideas that were feasible to happen or not. So I think leaning on the people around you and telling other people about the ideas you have is really important. I think I'm really grateful that Caro came to me and said, hey, I have a creative idea, and wasn't afraid to share that with me. And I think the more we can do that with the people around us, the better. So that's my advice.
Awesome. All right. You hear that? If you're listening out there, get some good friends, get some creative friends in your corner, because they can help steer you. Caro, do you want to say anything?
I was actually going to say the same thing. I think, because Britt, I think we both were like, I knew Britt was into making movies and stuff, and I just thought that was awesome. And we had like, also knowing that you're going to work on stuff that doesn't get made, but you just got to keep texting weird ideas to each other till you make a thing. And Britt and I are still texting each other like funny ideas that we think could be cool to make. So get good friends, and then just keep coming up with things till you make stuff.
That's awesome. All right. Brendan, do you have any advice for these young folks out here? I know it's been a while since you've been young, so it's been a long time.
I'm like way up there in age. Yeah. I guess just find what you care about and what you want other people to like see and learn, and just like find your like passion and go with that, and just like follow that wherever it leads you.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. Awesome. So one of the things I've been curious about as I've like watched these movies, and I've been like during like the last year, I don't know, I've been during Pride Month especially, I have really been fixated on like finding as many gay stories to be like in watching them, or queer stories or trans stories, and really because I think we have access to these stories for like, at least for me, for the first time. Do you think there's space out there for more stories to be told? Do you think we are kind of at a limit? Because I mean, like we can go now, like I never in a million years when I was young, when I was in high school, imagine turning on TV, turning on Netflix, or I never imagined turning on Netflix when I was in high school, but that's a thing now. But like, and then seeing like a whole LGBTQ Pride Month thing, like I have Hulu, and like, and it's a lot. It's a lot of stories, and they're there. But do you think it's enough? Do you think there's more room for, and anyone in it, please, everyone answer this, or anyone can answer that question.
Yeah, so you're not getting the DVDs anymore in the mail. Yeah,
I
but
miss
I
those
think that
days.
that's the idea, is that access now is like, it's just so much more widespread that I think that actually gives us more opportunities to tell our stories, right? And that if the only way that my story would get to someone's house is mailed on a DVD, like, y'all wouldn't have seen this film, right? And so one of the things that I think about the power of like how much of digital like has grown, that we actually have the ability to tell our story and get it to our audiences. And so I think that it's important the answer to your question is no, there's not too many. I think everyone has their own unique voice, right? And for me personally, it's like, yeah, there might be a lot of queer stories, but are there Filipino queer stories? Are there Filipino trans woman queer stories? Like, that's not a lot, right? And so that is just telling me, like, I have a space to continue on to tell my story because these need to keep getting out.
Oh, that's awesome. And I don't know, I know I look really young, but DVDs, I used to go to Blockbuster and go on Fridays and walk around all Friday night just to get Ernest Saves Christmas for the 15th time. Yeah, that was mine. That's how I got movies. So I would have never seen any of these movies because I was too super scared. I remember picking up Tu Wong Fu in Blockbuster, and my mom just like taking it out of my hand and politely putting it back on the shelf. So now I don't need her. I got my own Netflix password, so things we're grown now. Um, Anyone else want to answer that? Is there space for more queer stories to be told?
I feel there's no such thing as enough stories, because all of our experiences are so varied and everybody's experience is their own. And as long as we are having experiences, our experiences are like should be told and our stories should be told. And given the massive amount of like cishet content that's out in the world, there and there's still being more made, there's never going to be too much ever.
Awesome.
If we can have Fast and Furious 9, we can, or 8, I don't know, we can have as many queer and trans stories as possible.
You hit the nail on the head, Brad. If I see one more Fast and Furious thing, not that there's anything wrong with it. I know y'all out there like Fast and Furious because they keep making them. So people are watching them. But yeah, I don't know how much brotherly love and bonding over cars we have to get. But I guess I think we have some questions that came in. So let's. Somebody wrote Adventures in Sitting. Loved all these films so much. When these films have been shown at festivals and other places, what is something audiences have responded to and shared with you that resonated? We can start. Jade, you want to start to take that one?
That's a great question. I think the people that like come up to me crying is always like my favorite response, right? When people felt like touched enough that it like brought them to tears, like I'm like, yes, that was what we're doing. And I think mostly what resonates is that it's just like this like bringing up the feelings of empathy, right? And someone who might not be trans or might not be a parent can watch this film and see my story and be moved to the point of tears. And I think that, again, that's like what resonates. And that's also what shows me the power of like how much our stories can like impact people.
That's awesome. Anyone else want to share what resonated when fans or people that watch them?
You go, Cara. I think you had something to say. You unmuted.
I thought Brandon was going to go. I think it was interesting. It aired at the Miami Shorts Film Festival, and that was the fact that it did really well in Miami felt like really good because it's a Miami film. It's about a Miami family. It's, it's a Miami story. So it felt really cool that it resonated. It feels like it resonated and people got it like kind of exactly how Britt and I intended it to be received in Miami. And that felt really cool.
That's awesome. Miami could be, it can go either way sometimes in Miami.
Miami's weird.
not gonna bring up that 2020 election, but Miami can really make or break something. So I am glad that Miami turned out the way it should turn out for you, because that's awesome. I have a question for y'all. So, Haro, Brett, with your film, and Jade as well, even Brendan, like your family seemed to really be accepting for the most part. Did you, after these films, after watching these films and after they've gained some popularity, have you gotten any negative feedback or criticism from either family or people, friends maybe? Or has it all been positive? And that's okay if it's all positive. I'm with that. I'm here for that.
Yeah, I
Carl,
think
your mom like, don't put me on camera, because there was a point where she was like, don't. I forgot what she said in there. She was like, don't. She did not want to go on YouTube. That's what it was. Like, don't put this on YouTube. It's bigger than YouTube now.
But also, Jade, you were gonna say something, but I can also. Well, yes, that is true. So my aunt did say, she was like, I don't want it to get on YouTube, which was very funny. But she literally is okay with it being shown at festivals as long as it's not on YouTube. Like, she really doesn't want it on YouTube, which is really funny. But no, I mean, I think, yeah, it's super scary. I think even for me, I'm like, oh my God, this is like so intense and personal. But I haven't had any negative feedback. If anything, it's been like people being like, why'd you cut my scene? Why didn't my scene get in? So it's like funny stuff, more so.
Who didn't make the cut? Who did we not see?
Some uncles. It was a big family, so.
Dang, I know. You said, how many people did you end up coming out to overall?
I think it was like 17 or something like that.
That would have been a really long movie.
Maybe it was like 14. I don't know. It was in the teens.
Okay. All right. Yeah, some people had to get cut. I get it now. I get it. Jay, did you want to say anything?
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, I was going to speak to, in some senses, like my family, my bio family actually wasn't really supportive of my transition early on. And I mentioned that a little bit in the film, and there's a little bit of like, yeah, my family doesn't fully get it. I actually showed them the film like in a family text thread, and I told them like, these are my pronouns, this is my name, and I don't want to be dead named anymore, and here's a film to like give you context. And even in the film, I talk about them not accepting me. So it's like, I don't know who out of them watched it, but eventually, like a little bit after that, they respected, like my pronouns and my, stopped calling me by my dead name. So I don't know if the film was part of that or just me setting my boundaries really strongly with them, but maybe both hand in hand. And so I think that there definitely was like a little bit of like, maybe this film helped, do the things that I was wanting it to do. And other than that, it's been like no negative feedback, mostly just people loving it. So
yay, that makes me really, really, really happy. So that's awesome. That's really cool. I think we have another question that came in. Says, Britt, what is your favorite queer film? What are you watching right now? I was literally going to ask you all this. So this.
I love this. I also shout out to the person who asked that question. I'm trying to think of queer films. I've been watching a lot of like queer TV. If you haven't seen the FX Hulu Pride series, it's fantastic. It's 6 LGBTQ directors taking on a different era of queer history, and it has like Andrew Ahn and Cheryl Dunye. It's fantastic. I've only seen like half of it, but it's great. I've been watching like Legendary and things like that. But in terms of movies, besides shorts, like I gotta stay up to date. But highly recommend Pride. It's on Hulu. It's great.
All right. I kind of want to pose that question to everyone else too. What are you watching right now? What do you recommend? If you have any favorites.
It's like a lot of people's, but Pose. I am obsessed with Pose, and it's something because I put a lot of weight behind history and behind learning from the people who came before us, and Pose is kind of show where it's talking about like the experiences of a generation before us, and like not just the negatives, but like the family aspect and the love and the community that they created. And it's something that I think like everybody should see.
Yeah, I'm so sad it's done. I don't know. Have you finished it? Did you finish it, Brendan?
I haven't seen the last episode yet.
Okay, well, let me tell you what happens. So it ends with no. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna be right. Yeah, I am really sad that it's done. Pose helped facilitate a lot of conversations within like our school systems, within communities, within families that I think needed to happen, especially in African American families. Really, I know personally, I have family who don't really understand LGBTQ issues, but really like Billy Porter and really wanted to see what they were doing. So that kind of helped that conversation move along, and they get it. And for those of you who haven't watched this final season of Pose, there's a episode with Billy Porter going back home to his family that was truly one of the best things I've seen on TV in a long time. And if you have not watched Pose, you should. All right. Who else? What else are you watching? Jade?
I'm watching. I love watching TV with my daughter, and so we watch a lot of like family friendly stuff. But she's really into adventure stuff. So right now we're watching Sweet Tooth on Netflix, and we like things like His Dark Materials, and then also like stuff like She-Ra and cartoon and so my daughter, as she's getting into drawing, we're watching more animated stuff. We're reading graphic novels, and just wanting to put more queer stories in like graphic novels and an animated series, just knowing that there's like we talked about earlier, we got to get into these spaces too, and I think that that's important. So that's the kind of stuff that we're into right now.
Awesome.
And She-Ra is hella queer, so
All right.
That's great. I guess I watched the last season of Master of None that just came out, which was Alina Waith's whole season, and that was like really good and very like a whole season about adult issues and like having kids and getting divorced and a lot of stuff. So I thought that was good. And then I want to rewatch Vida again. I loved Vida. I think they had their final season already, but I want to rewatch it from the beginning. And Work in Progress. That's the other one I want to rewatch. Work in Progress. Yeah, those are all TV shows, not movies. Sorry.
No, it's okay. No. We're obviously are TV people here. I think that's what I got from that question. We are all watching a lot of gay TV, which is good. I need to figure out. I don't think I've ever heard of Work in Progress, so I need to catch up and figure out that. Everyone's like, "What? Is it good? Is it really good?" Okay,
so right, good. It's on Showtime. Season 2 is being filmed in Chicago right now.
Okay,
fantastic.
My problem with like Showtime shows is like they never like make it. Like I get super invested in Showtime shows, and then like they're like, "Oh, that was it. That was it." You'll never find out what happened to Jim Carrey in Kidding. You'll never know. Like I can't do it with Showtime. It's a toxic relationship. And I always lose. All right, so we have one more question, and my final question to you all, and we can start with Jade. What's next for you? Are there more stories that you want to tell, or so what's next?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I'm a performer, a writer, poet, and so I'm continuously going to schools, universities, writing new stuff. What I love doing most is public speaking and working with youth and sharing my story and showing the film. And so what me and Eliza are doing is, our film like really was starting to pop off right before COVID. And when COVID hit, we had like a whole tour of like gigs that we were like ready to like, people were so excited to like bring me and my daughter out, show the film, and we have a whole Q&A thing. And so we lost a lot of that, and that felt like the momentum just like got swept from under our feet. And so we've just been trying to like kind of get back on with like, how can we get this film out to people? So kind of when you're saying all those GSAs that were like reaching out, if they want to bring the film out and want to screen it, these are the kind of things that we're trying to do, is continue to tour the film and bring it to students and want to get to show the film to them so that students can see this and be a part of, you know, the conversation and understand, you know, like what that looks like. So, and then I'm also writing a short film currently. So.
Ooh, can you give us a hint on what it's about?
Yeah, for sure. It's still a lot about family, and it's not going to be a documentary, but it'll be very much about my life. And, you know, I just had it's a mix of like heavy in terms of like familial trauma, right? Like I realized like my brother was one of my bullies, you know, in my life, but also there's a lot about like in a short time, how like overcoming that, right? And the ways that like I've processed my trauma to become a stronger version of myself. And it's very much centered around a Filipino boxing family in LA. And they end up fighting, and in a really cool like staged way. And it's just a really cool kind of like short film that I'm looking into, that I'm writing. So.
Oh, awesome. Oh, wow. That's okay. That's really cool. Brett, what's next? What's going on?
Oh, so many things. Everything's like coming back now that a lot of production is back in New York. I'm producing a lot of shorts and narrative projects, both in the doc space and the feature space. I'm going to work on some projects with Caro. I'm getting a barrage of text all the time with different ideas. So definitely something there. And then something I've also been doing that's a little different from making films is I've been curating a short film series called QT Shorts for queer and trans filmmakers. And we have a free program that's going on. So I've been doing a lot of watching and curation as well.
Awesome. Oh, that sounds like fun. That sounds like a fun thing to do. Okay. I'm jealous. Caro?
Yeah, definitely just want to make more short films with Britt. So he likes, you know, a couple of the ideas we've been working on. So that's good. And I really want to get into the animated shorts space. I really just love animation a lot. So, but I know it's a longer process than a documentary. So
are you like, do you want to do the animation, or?
I'm really bad at drawing. Only if like we're really committed to it being like really not very good in terms of the animation, then I'll do it for sure.
Nah. Just get an animator. I'm sure you have some friends that are animators. Exactly. Yeah. Give them some work.
There you go.
Brendan, what's up? What's going on?
I'm not really sure, quite frankly. I know I want to get it like out there, because I know I want like to more students and to younger people, and because like if I had this kind of film in middle school, like that would have like made a huge difference. So I want to like, because I know it's been very localized in like New York, like LA, and like Florida, like Miami is like a couple places, and I want to get it to like other parts of the country who might not get as much exposure to queer stories and who might not get that, and for the queer kids who don't get that kind of support in their own like local communities. So I want to get it to people who really need it more.
You want to get it to Kentucky. I get it.
Yes. Yeah. No, exactly.
Okay.
I have friends I met at school who like grew up in the middle of like nowhere. Mm-hmm. And like college was where they like they themselves were queer, and here was like the first opportunity where they could really like safely find people like them and people who could relate to them. So I want to like be able to like try and bring that to where my friends are from, and to like those like middle like just isolated places, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. That's really, really important. When I'm doing this work in New York, sometimes I feel like I'm like preaching to the choir. I'm like, New York is so progressive, and like, you know, like here I am coming in with this queer stuff, and people are way gayer than me, but I have learned they need it too. So like there are some places in this city and some communities and some neighborhoods that definitely need it. And then like because New York is so big and because these films are being seen by so many people. These people are going to be able to like be the people who take them elsewhere too as well. So don't be too mad that you're not in Kentucky yet. There's somebody's going to bring it. You're going to get to Kentucky. I have faith in you, Brendan. You're going to Kansas. But I am so happy you all spent your evening with me. And thank you so much. Thank you to all the GSA advisors out there who watched today. Thank you to NewFest, of course. Thank you to Trinity Church. And they are amazing. I miss you all. We will get together soon and give each other a hug now that most of us are vaccinated. We can see each other again, and I'm looking forward to doing this in person next time. So, and actually seeing your faces. I know since we might be in Brooklyn, excluding Jade, but we're gonna get you to Brooklyn too, Jade. And we're going to get these movies seen in more places and more GSAs. Everyone needs to see these movies because they really, really hit home for a lot of people. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. Stay on for a little bit. We'll chat after this. But I think we're going to wrap it up.